Hey guys, and welcome, and yes, I'm back in action with my favourite dino boys, bringing the forces of the Lizardmen up against Zam, one of the coolest players I have run into multiple times now on Quick Battles, an absolute champ of the people, always brings really fun builds and matchups. And we have Lizardmen versus Beastmen, so this should be quite a fiery affair. It's a matchup that certainly favoured the Lizardmen rather heavily in the early days, but now Beastmen have strucketh back, and it can actually be quite even now, if not a little bit Beastman favoured, so I'll have to see how we fare here today. And we've gone for a very wide battle line with a mixture of red-crested skinks and Saurus warriors dotted all the way along, with a backup core of red-crested skink regiment of renown, the cohort of Sotek, as well as the Star Chamber Guardians. Now, what could the Star Chamber Guardians be guarding? That's right, we've brought the boy, the mighty Lord Kroak. I haven't really come out of the box too often recently, but he is certainly a very fun character to bring to the battlefield. He does come in with just the one spell, which can be cast in 3 different levels of power. The Deliverance of Itza, or as the community tends to call it, the Deliverance of Pizza. And it's a big old boom. Quite easy to dodge those, so you have to be quite sneaky in how you use it to pin in the enemy and try to allow Lord Kroak to dish out the damage. He's also going to bring in the Supreme Shield of the Old One today, but no item, I couldn't quite afford it, because his lord alongside him, also deep hidden amongst the Star Chamber Guardian, we're bringing Kroak. We've gone for the absolute dream team here, the two Chads together. Kroak is, as his name would suggest, a big fat rock, which is going to hold the battle line for an absolute age. He has Stand Your Ground as well as Rock of Itza, and he does have To the Death and all that good standard stuff, being immune to psychology, and he is currently getting Guardian from the Star Chamber Guardians, who will also be giving that to Lord Kroak as well. Now, I am fearful of chariots. I've got some pretty bad Tuskor chariot PTSD, so we have double Kroak in the back, units I don't tend to bring. I don't think they're actually that amazing, which may be a little bit controversial, I don't know. They are very good, but just I guess they don't synergize well with my playstyle or builds. But we do have 2 Kroak in the back, as well as 1 unit of the feral cold ones looking to pin in chariots where possible. For my opponent, he does have a double Centaurs, it seems, on this left-hand side, one of which is the Regiment of Renown, though, the Grog Hooves of Wolves Run, looking to get a cheeky vanguard in the forest. Luckily, my red-crested skinks did spot them, and I believe we have a load more in the back as well in vanguard. We have double Centaur, as well as a Brave Shaman of Shadows. He is coming on a Tuskor chariot, and is it Tuskor or is it Razorgore? No, it looks like it is Tuskor, simply with Pendulum. Very good at clearing out Saurus, however. For the main battle line, it's pretty cheap and cheerful. We do have the Destroyers of Drakwold, but apart from that, it's just Ungor herds dotted all the way along. So a bucket ton of Beastmen, just to be lambs to the slaughter to die, or the single entities, the chariots, the Minotaurs dish out the damage. We do have Torx the Brass Bull alongside his bro here, the Gorbel, so trying to out-chad us, Kroak and Kroak versus the Gorbel and Torx the Brass Bull. Both of these pretty beastly. It looks like we do have the brass body for Torx, and that is about it. These guys will hit very hard as a duo. I know that Torx is kind of a newer model, but the Gorbel's axe, I'm a bigger fan of that than these puny little ones. Look at that, that's an axe right there. We do have some Minotaurs with shields in the back line as well. Should be able to dish out a large amount of damage to the majority of my build. And very spookily, we have the Gorak's Man Rippers. They're going to be fantastic against pretty much everything in my build. We'll be able to drag their way through a pretty big heavy weight of Skinks and Saurus. But likewise, they're going to be good up against the Kroak, Lord Kroak. So they're going to be one to look out for. I certainly need to try to neutralize them as quickly as possible. We have forced off the Centaurs at the moment with the red-crested skinks, but I'm well aware they're going to be trying to sneak into my back line. And we have dropped a Supreme Shield of the Old Ones rather early here, and this is actually more of a trap. I'm dropping it to try to distract my opponent so he doesn't see the big boom coming for him. And I've spotted the Kroak's Man Rippers, and we're going in for the kill straight away. There is your pizza on the doorstep. Also, unintentionally killing a load of Ungors. Now, it does not do friendly fire, that spell only affects the enemies, and Lord Kroak with 1 cast is up to 106 kills. And the battle has all of a sudden turned into an absolute flustercluck as my opponent chucks the Gorbel and Torx the Brass Bull into the meat grind on top of Lord Kroak. But we do have the Star Chamber Guardians here. Stand Your Ground has been popped as well. With that resistance coming in from the Star Chamber Guardians, they're holding the line rather tankily right there. Gorak's Man Rippers are going down. A lovely pendulum is cast along my battle lines, though, by my opponent. But we have dispatched the Gorak's Man Rippers. They were one of the biggest threats that we were going to face, so I was really worried about them here today. In the back line, we do have red-crested skinks as well as the cohort of Sotek trying to hunt down centaurs at the moment. It is a mishmash in the back here. There's kind of two fights going on. The backline fight, which we are slowly dragging down the centaurs, and the main fight as well. Looks like we're going to be coming in with another big deliverance strike. My opponent recognizes it and tries to pull the Ungor spearheads out the way, but they are getting blocked in by the Saurus warriors, and they get eviscerated for their troubles. That's going to allow the Saurus to overwhelm all three units here and seal the deal on that flank. It's quite hard to tell what's going on here in the middle. We have Kroak trying to pin in all the single entities. That's going to buy time for Gorok, but more importantly, the Star Chamber Guardians to dish out the damage. We've done just that to this poor little Gorbel, who's currently being chased away by the Great White Lizard, who's did a pretty good job here. Just chase him away. Yeah, get out of here, you little Gorbel. I can handle you by myself, he says, whilst well protected by the Star Chamber Guardians. Torx is also surrounded right now. Lord Kroak is attempting to be sniped out here. Centaurs have been chucked in. Minotaurs as well, trying to dish out the damage, but Lord Kroak just shy of 200 kills. This is a disgusting overcast by my opponent, though. He does unfortunately miscast. The Brave Shaman is now getting dispatched by Gorok, but a lovely pendulum rinsing two Saurus warriors up to 89 kills on the Shaman, trying to keep up there with Lord Kroak, and Centaurs following in as well with a flank charge to try to break up the Saurus warrior resistance. The Supreme Shield of the Old Ones is going to go down though, boost up our leadership and keep us active and fighting. The Shaman has been forced off for now, but he should be able to rally. Red-crested skinks are just hounding the Gorok's man rippers, driving them away from the field of battle, trying to get them as far away as physically possible. Red-crested skinks are going to be engaging with the Gorbel on the flank, just trying to overwhelm him and drive him away from the battlefield. Brave Shaman has managed to come back, and there's still a bucket ton of thrown axes online, which are going to be getting Cobied in, but it looks like we have managed to 2v1 Torx the Brass Bull with Lord Kroak and Gorok there, as well as, of course, as the Star Chamber Guardians, and Torx is indeed running for his life right now, fleeing before the might of the dinos. We're actually going to take some of the feral cold ones and try to hunt him down and drive them away from the battlefield, and start sacrificing the Saurus warriors in the back. Just get our beat up units and have them with their shields eat the throwing axes, save our bigger heavy hitters, the Star Chamber Guardians, Lord Kroak, Gorok and so forth, from the wrath of the throwing axes. But unfortunately we actually rampage back into the main fight, which isn't exactly where the Saurus warriors wanted to be. Shaman Sorcerer is going to come in with a pretty desperate charge onto Lord Kroak to try to finish him off. Tuskor Chariots are very powerful at the moment. Lord Kroak, though, can punch back pretty hard. He is getting Guardian and is, still has 45 armor, which isn't fantastic, and only 12 melee defense, but he's got very thick, boy. He's got a lot of HP. And he actually managed to dispatch the Brave Shaman himself there, showing once and for all who is the better caster, the goat or the toad. And it is always the toad. Saurus Warriors going to continue to drive back Centaurs with thrown axes, who are currently just using up ammunition onto them. They have managed to rampage them, but honestly, I don't mind losing this unit if it does waste the ammunition on my opponent. Balance power getting deadly close now to army losses, which is very good news for us because it's in our favour right now. Torx the Brass Bull is dueling the cohort of Sotek, but you can really never underestimate these boys. Red-crested skinks in general are amazing, but cohort of Sotek are standout, real good standouts in general. Refuse to Die has been popped. That's a lot of poison attacks going after Torox. He's only down to 950 HP, so he's not long for this world. We have more red-crested skinks returning. Got some chasing off the Gorbel once again in the distance. But things are looking pretty good for us right now. Ungor Spears are starting to push back. Gorok continue to drive forward with his buddy Lord Kroak leading the charge. Kroak score as well. Going to try to meet those Centaurs man to man, or I should say dino to goat, as they do meet up. And Kroak scores have done pretty good today. My opponent is going to bow out there. But very well played to Zam. And Zam, if you are watching this, he did mention he was enjoying the videos and so forth. If you are watching this, bud, feel free to join my Discord. I'd love to have you on the channel a bit more, get you involved in some tournaments and stuff. Really talented player, really lovely guy as well. If you ever do see him on Quick Battles, always say hi. He's quite happy to have a chat. And we went really experimental today. It was quite a fun game, bringing in the mighty Gorok and Kroak, having a little bit of a giggle on Quick Battles, which I've been doing quite a lot recently, just bringing experimental builds. And I must admit, I've been having a bucket ton of fun with them as well, experimenting with the new meta and all that kind of fun stuff. But very well played to Zam, put up a good fight there, and we will get to all the glorious damage dealt and damage value in just a second of all the units, particularly Lord Kroak, who got 199 kills. But before we get to that, if you guys enjoyed this, make sure to leave a big fat thumbs up, subscribe as well to the channel. We did recently hit the 6k mark and roll on the 7. We are going to be doing a big celebration at 7,500 subscribers, probably doing a giveaway and all that good stuff, so make sure you're around for that. Feel free to comment down below as well what you thought of the battle. Yell Lord Kroak, I suppose, if you wanted the Lizardmen to win, or leave some sad moos if you wanted the Beastmen to be victorious. Feel free to comment on what was your favourite moment of the battle, who was your MVP, what faction you'd like to see next on the channel, what guides and all that kind of long-term, long formatted videos, because we're going to be doing a lot more of those coming probably about next month. I've got some big changes that are going to be coming to the channel in all good stuff, don't worry. Like, it's going to be more content, not less content. And I'll be announcing that all next Tuesday, hopefully, as long as I don't have an appointment on that day, which I may or may not have. So, yeah, really good stuff there. Feel free as well to support the channel. There are links down below to my Patreon as well as my Discord. If you'd like to submit replays, get involved in the channel, events, and all that kind of good stuff. But anyway, the mighty Kroak, 8 kills, and a pitiful 755 damage value. And this is the big problem Kroak has. He's a tanky boy indeed, but he's not very swift across the ground, so he can't often get onto those key targets when he needs to be able to shut them down properly. But still, worked as a good bodyguard today for the might of Lord Kroak, who got over 2,000 damage value, over 20k damage dealt, and 199 kills. He took out the Kroak's Man Rippers basically single-handedly, which is really useful, considering they were one of the biggest threats to my build. Lord Kroak, is he competitive? Certainly not, but if you can trick your opponent, drop that Supreme Shield of the old ones and pop the little damage spell inside it. It's a lot harder for them to see and dodge. He can certainly get the damage done. Red Crested Skinks, I've been singing their praises a lot recently. Likewise, the Saurus Warriors, doing good as always. I mean, the Skinks, 570, 395, 525 damage value, not too shabby. Saurus faring a bit worse, 691 damage, 545 and 320, but good kills across the board. 143 kills, 87, 12. Okay, 12's not so good, but the others are pretty damn good. And they were healthy at the end, so could have given more damage there as well. Kulta Sotek, 982 damage value, over 6,000 damage dealt and 60 kills. Basically, about 3/4 HP towards the end. Very useful, powerful unit. You could see them dragging down Torx the Brass Ball at the end. Some of the real MVPs, though, were the Star Chamber Guardians. Not only did they do their job really well, protecting their Liege Lords, but likewise dished out the damage. 1,544 damage value. Only 12 kills, but that's not really important when you're taking down all the big enemy creatures that do oppose you. Unfortunately, Kroak, as well as the Feral Cod ones, didn't get much damage value, 600, 400, 300, but they pinned in the enemy, and more of a counter to Chariots, which unfortunately never did come. As for Zam's forces, 1,168 damage value on Torx the Brass Bull, over 6,000 damage dealt as well. So did a really good job. 29 kills, got in there, got busy, but unfortunately the Star Chamber Guardians were too much for him. Definitely the MVP though, moments for Zam, and for his build in general, was the Brave Shaman of Shadows. 95 kills, over 2,000 damage value. Those pendulums were absolutely disgusting. Very well placed there. Over 14,000 damage dealt as well. The Gorbel unfortunately just got the absolute snot kicked out of him. Kroak was having none of his crap, being very tanky, and the Star Chamber Guardians as well just, pushed this guy to the side really and overwhelmed him. Unfortunately, the Ungors didn't do too much. They kind of got obliterated, and the Kroak's Man Rippers, quite an expensive unit. The most expensive kind of elite infantry for the Beastmen, coming off here with only 200 damage value. The Minotaurs have a 1,849 damage value and 40 kills. They were in that meat grind up against the Star Chamber Guardians. Kroak for a long time really held on in there and got some beautiful work done. The Centaur crew unfortunately did not perform very well. Again, just kind of ushered out wide, kept at arm's reach really by the Red Crested Skinks and eventually dragged down. And when they did get into the main fight in the end, it was a little bit too little too late for them. Anyway, once again, well played to Zam, and until next time, peace, and as always, stay awesome.